Georgia. NeverOver Live, where we are your number one source for live viewing parties, each and every WWE pay-per-view, instant analysis, and reaction. I'm Dawson. This is our champion, Brad. This is Ben, the monkey working the keyboard. Tonight, we're going to change things up a bit. Usually on Wednesday nights before a pay-per-view, we do the 2K sim, fill in the boxes for their predictions, whatever the sim comes up with, and then we move on to Brad's predictions, kind of fill in half the card here on Wednesdays. But what we've decided to do is to kind of do a live podcast. So there won't be too much interaction from us. We'll be more just discussing what's been happening in wrestling the past week and a half since we've last seen you. And we'll go from there. Just kind of, we got talking points, and we'll have a bit of structure to it. So if there's nothing really you'll have to watch. There'll be no real viewing. It more or less at your leisure when you want to watch this video, or more so listen to this video. So that's kind of what we'd really implore you guys to do, is just, if you're at work and you want to kill some time, or you want something to listen to while you're doing mindless shit at work, toss us on in the background and kind of listen to our, what we're talking about with wrestling and kind of our thoughts. And yeah, there won't be too much video this stream to actually watch. Be just more of us talking about
what's been
going on this week in WWE. So,
yeah,
I know we're going to summarize. We're going to talk a little bit later on about what happened on Raw. We're going to break it down. We're going to break down a little bit about what went down on SmackDown as well. And we're also I think we're going to start off with some of the bigger points as far as this week in WWE went, at least news-wise.
Yep. So we'll, that's kind of the schedule we got. Is a bit of, we'll get into the news of the past week and a half. We'll move on to Raw. We'll then talk about SmackDown, and then we'll kind of wrap things up with how the sim got along. As you can see there in the video on the right-hand side, we're currently setting up our first matchup between the New Day and background. But we won't really be too focused on the stream.
No, we wanted to shift the focus a little bit from being about the sim to kind of at least providing a little bit more substance. So while you'll see the sim happening down below in the corner, we're going to be talking, like I said, a lot about what Dawson said there. We're going to be talking a little bit more so about what's been going on this week in WWE. And one other note, if you're watching us live, we won't necessarily be interacting with comments very much. We don't really have a way of viewing that right now, but we'll be figuring that out for further streams.
So, speaking of further streams, make sure that you, as we take in Hell in a Cell, we will be starting the stream up, as always, with a pre-show. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Please come and join us. Come ask some questions. We'll do back and forth. We'll have Brad and the Sims predictions locked in, and then it'll be Benjamin and I. We'll put in our choices for the predictions. We'll put in ours at that point. So, make sure this Sunday, when for Hell in a Cell, you join us at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, I guess, fellas, with that, we'll get into news. Not sure which piece of news we should go into, but I think we should start with the big news, and that is the WWE confirming Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Survivor Series in Toronto on November 20th.
Well, it was extreme. It's been inevitable now.
It's been very obvious
for a long time.
For the last month or so, at least.
Leading up to the 2K17 announcement, Dirt Sheets Online have been making a lot of comments about this this potential news, and it's great in some ways, and I think it's poor in some other ways. I think what we had 13 years ago at WrestleMania 20, I know shouldn't really be looked at with as much comparative qualities as it has been for a lot of people, because the fans really took over that match at WrestleMania 20. If you're not familiar, Brock and Goldberg fought once at WrestleMania 20 already, while both were on their way out of the company. Stone Cold was the guest referee for that match, and it was a wash. One of the most notably bad matches in not only WrestleMania history, but WWE history overall. Yeah. So a lot of people looking at it with some ire there, but I think the two could put on a very, very entertaining WWE style match, hard hitting, big spots. Especially, we don't know what kind of shape Goldberg's in.
That's the condition Goldberg is in.
I mean, the guy's pushing 50, and Brock, I mean, he's sitting around 40 right now, but then Brock is also a physical specimen.
Yeah.
I know that Goldberg's... it's hard to say what's going to happen there.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what kind of condition a guy's in. It's age and time takes its toll, so it's going to be really tough to see what he'll be like.
Brad, what are you thinking about this matchup, being someone who's kind of drifted away from the product over the last 10 years?
It's interesting. I think logically in my head, it's once again, Goldberg, he is 30s, 40s.
He's 40. I think he's pushing 50.
So he's high 40s, and I think Brock's 39.
Brock's 39.
39?
Yep.
So you would think logically that Brock would be able to just absolutely destroy Goldberg, especially listening to Stone Cold's podcast where he had Goldberg on. Goldberg's had both knees replaced, or at least surgery done on both his knees within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I just it's gonna be interesting. I feel like Bill though he's gonna bring it.
Yeah.
Because once again, like he said, this is the first time that his son has been able to actually watch him wrestle, because his son's 10 or 11 or something like that. So I feel like he'll go out and he's going to try and put on the best show that he can possibly do. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think the WWE signed him for a one-off match. I think they'll probably get 3 out of him.
I think they were talking 3.
That was the rumors. Yeah, it was 3.
I know they definitely have him for 1 for sure.
Yeah.
And to comment a little bit about he's always a spot, that's always been the thing that was going to bring him back to wrestling, was to wrestle for his son. And so I think that concept alone has kept the tick on in Goldberg's mind, as far as want to make sure that he would always be ring ready, about making sure that he was always at the drop of a hat, if the story was right and the money was right, that he would go back to WWE.
Yeah.
Which is very which is encouraging to me to have that thought, because I think, like I said, I think that if Goldberg's motivated enough, he obviously has the motivation of his son, and you could tell 2 weeks ago on Raw, that promo was so good.
Yeah.
It was just from the heart, authentic, felt real.
He was super fired up.
He was
when he
on,
came out to the ring.
You heard it in his walkout. He was ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I think he's the caliber to deliver.
Yeah. And I think the big question mark is going to be Brock. Did Vince give Brock a big enough check for him to care about this match and actually want to put on a show?
Well, so here's where things are getting a little bit interesting, and this is where I'm totally okay with blowing the doors right off this.
Yeah, we're going to
talk about this.
We're basically going to get into our predictions for that match right now.
I'm ready to blow the door off this thing. So Brock, it's funny you would mention that. Brad, it's funny that you would mention Brock's motivations as far as doing this match, and I think his motivations are still the same and they're unchanged, because Brock is going to beat Goldberg at Survivor Series 100%.
No chance.
Absolutely.
No chance. Brock beats Goldberg. No chance. In a PG era, they don't bring a guy back they're touting around as a superhero and have him lose for the kids. The kids are going to want to see him win. Old fans are going to want to see him come in and win. It's just the time for Brock to be beaten.
That's...
Okay, let me tell you this then.
You don't have the guy who beat the streak lose.
Goldberg beats Brock. Then what?
What happens with Brock? He just keeps winning forever? Who beats Brock?
The ultimate face that they want to put over forever. Because if Brock beats Goldberg, because they're obviously trying to make Goldberg the super face, they tried to do on Monday.
A bit.
But they're obviously trying to separate the two on polar opposites of the kayfabe spectrum as possible here.
Yeah.
Their power levels equal, I would say.
I'd say so too. Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, giving present day ratings and giving present day Brock Lesnar. Their power rankings are probably the same.
That's what they'd want to go into with it. Yep.
And so for them to really make the wedge between them, as far as good guy, bad guy goes as wide as possible. You have the good guy, the superhero Goldberg, and the bad guy, like the ass kicker Brock Lesnar. Goldberg wins. Oh, it's great. Goldberg's never gonna have another match. Brock lost, so there goes all of the spectacle that was the Undertaker streak and the guy who beat it down the tubes. All
When's
that's gone.
Brock gonna have his next match?
WrestleMania.
You never know when it's gonna be Brock's last match. That's the thing about Brock. He shows up like 3 times a year.
He signed like a 3-year contract at the end of WrestleMania 31, though, or just as WrestleMania 31 was rearing his head, he reneged, and it was like a 2 or 3 year deal, and they work in appearances. So I think like Brock is going to win because he has to win because they have to put either AJ, Shinsuke, Joe, or Baron Corbin clean. It's got to be one of those 5. Somebody else has to beat Brock clean when Brock's super heel, because he'll be such a heel when he beats Goldberg. He'll be such a heel. People will hate him so much when he beats Goldberg. So who do you get to beat the ultimate heel who beat the streak that you can put over forever? Because whoever beats Brock now, just like with The Undertaker, whoever beats Brock now is it. They are number 1 on the list. You got your champions beneath this person. Whoever beats heel, undefeated, ass-kicking, superhero-killing Brock is the guy. And I think it's one of those 5. I mean, it's Shinsuke, it's Joe, it's AJ, it's Roman, or it's Baron Corbin. I like throwing Baron Corbin in that list. But that Goldberg, it'd be great. But he's just not gonna win. He can't win. Because you gotta keep the story going with Brock. As bad as he is in the ring now, as boring as he is in the ring now, throwing guys around a million times.
But there's no story to continue with Brock.
The story is someone has to put him down.
Brock gets... Then who better than to have a superhero beat Brock?
But you can't do anything else with Goldberg after that. You can't make more money off Goldberg. But you can make more money off Shinsuke Nakamura.
No, I don't think it'd be a guy like Shinsuke. It'd be like Finn Balor would be more of a guy.
Yeah, that was another great one. Finn Balor is also on that list.
Because with the way you're pitching it, it would be it's the guy who's the next John Cena.
Yeah,
that's who you're kind of.
That's why I have Roman Reigns on that list. Even they should have put Roman over at 31. That would have been the best time to do it. I know we got the Seth, and that was great, but I think that in that moment it should have been Roman, because then it really meant nothing when he won it at 32 against Triple H, and it was actually vilified. Like if Roman had to beat Brock at 31, things I think would have went a lot more better for the company overall, but it also would have been the best way to close the Brock beat the streak storyline, because it's still not over, because Brock hasn't been pinned yet.
Yeah.
Taker didn't even beat Brock clean at all. Taker lost at Mania. He won dirty at SummerSlam to a non-win. The ref, so he didn't submit, because it's probably part of Brock's deal. He doesn't submit or get pinned, or whatever they're doing with Brock to trying to make him look unstoppable. And then he lost at Hell in a Cell last year against Undertaker, or Undertaker lost against Brock last year at Hell in a Cell. So Brock hasn't been beaten yet, and so he should have lost to Roman at 31. But I don't think he's going to lose to Goldberg, because it just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me.
You go.
No, I'm pretty much said it makes sense to me. You don't bring a guy like Goldberg back, tout around the whole superhero angle, make him a huge face for the kids to love, just to have him beat.
You brought Sting back. How'd that go?
I don't think he had the same. Just quickly note there, Sheamus and Cesaro picking up the win. I don't know. Sting was from a different era than Goldberg. Goldberg feels recent enough to still be kind of relevant. Like, we were teenagers when Goldberg was around. You know what I mean? Like, we remember him. It's like, I don't remember Sting at all. You knew the name, but you didn't know why. So I feel like there's a huge group of people that are still, like... And plus, Sting's power level, I don't think, would have been the same as Goldberg's.
No.
Goldberg's, like, there was this unstoppable beast who did whatever.
You've got that, what was it, 131 wins streak?
181, I think, something like that.
That you can use with Goldberg that makes matching him up against Brock plausible.
Yeah. I think it's an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
I would agree with that sentiment. That's for sure.
And I don't know if they care enough about, I just don't know if they care enough about, poetry. I think they kind of forget about that kind of stuff. I think it at times slips their mind. So I don't think they'll care enough. They'll remember they toss away things randomly. So
Like Brock beating the streak?
Kinda, yeah. It was just tossed away randomly. This is why it was tossed away randomly. Brock's not going to be around. They're not making enough money off Brock. They're not. He's not doing house shows. They're not selling merch. Like, I guess they are. But when you show up and you see a show and he doesn't show up and then you leave and you buy some merch in the lobby, you're not buying his shirt. He wasn't there. So, like, Brock felt like a waste for the streak. Because he's a guy who's, like, you could have plucked out someone young.
Yeah.
And you could have, like, Daniel Bryan would have been perfect for it.
Yeah, I'll agree
Daniel
with that.
Bryan, he would have been heel forever, sure. But he was a good heel when he was a heel. Now, of course, health got in the way of his career. But you can never predict that.
No.
But it's just like, it sets a young guy off forever.
And that's just it. Like, it could have set off Randy. Like, and Randy kind of stayed always a tweener, now he's a face, but...
Randy really early in his career could have projected... Because Randy's a great heel when he's a heel.
Yeah.
It could have just launched him into an epic class
and that's
you can't touch me. It could have been Cena and Orton, the ultimate face, the ultimate heel. They could have had them combat every 3 years at a WrestleMania. It would have been epic.
I agree wholeheartedly, yeah.
But it's just like, okay, now you've passed the streak off to a guy who's not around. You pass the streak off, that essence, to a guy who's not around, and it's like, what are you going to do? He's around for another, 2 or 3 years, he said? So what's he got? 10 more matches tops?
I agree that Brock has certainly lost the luster he had when he was showing up more frequently. Because they were saying, like, he was the guy who beat the streak, and then he got the belt.
He was around, yeah.
And then he got conned out of it at Mania and hasn't had his shot at it since, because he's always been in multi-man matches where the other two guys pin each other.
Yep.
So Brock as that unstoppable force, like they do market him as an unstoppable force, but he's lost that. Yeah. The fact that he's beat the streak.
But yeah, and it's just like, what's the point of Brock now? What's the point? So I'm saying, what's the point? Well, if I'm saying that, then what would be the point of beating Goldberg, or having Goldberg beat Brock? It wouldn't really matter either, because I can't find a point to have Brock keep winning. So just give him a loss to Goldberg, because what's the point of Goldberg? Like, what's the point of either man really winning? Brock wins 6 more matches, he's out of the business.
Goldberg wrestles no more matches.
Yeah.
So you just said, what's the point of either man winning? If Brock's going to at least wrestle one other match, then they're going to give the win to Brock. Because why would they have him lose and then...
So then what okay, so they have him win, and then... both things seem singular. It seemed like it seems like it's an isolated event. You have one. It's a pure story thing that lives and dies with this. Goldberg wins. It's over.
Okay, I was thinking it's a pure story thing that exists with Brock holding the streak win, and then when he loses, it's over.
I don't know.
That's where the story is.
He's just slowing down. There's no real... The appeal for him right now is with this Goldberg angle. But where's the next appeal come from?
Do you think he beats Goldberg and then that spikes right back up?
I don't think he's got the same allure as he did when he beat Undertaker. Same as beating the streak.
But do you think Goldberg has enough caliber to beat Brock? Do you think they're going to have enough caliber to give that to Goldberg to beat Brock? If Brock beats Goldberg in the same sense, Brock's not going to have all that caliber that you put in Goldberg right there? If Goldberg has the caliber to beat Brock, but then Brock still beats Goldberg, then Brock's better than Goldberg.
He is, but do people care? I think people care more about Goldberg, and then I guess you can still say that. You can still make the same argument where it's like, okay, if Goldberg beats Brock, people care about Goldberg beating Brock. People will be hyped for Goldberg beating Brock. Then you just flip it and have Brock beat Goldberg for those reasons. Yeah. But I don't think people would give a shit. I think people would be very, okay, this was all a wash then.
It's hard to say. All I know is that I have my reasons for Brock beating Goldberg.
Yeah, I have my reasons for... Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I was waiting for you guys to finish because listen to both of you kind of gave me a
very interesting...
Right in the middle. You don't know where to go. You're being tore apart by two Brock's baseball. Two 6'3" monsters are pulling you apart.
Yeah. So I'm gonna expose the business on this one a little bit.
Oh jeez.
Oh
boy.
I feel like right now, Brock's a loose cannon.
That's fair.
Brock gets what Brock wants, and Brock doesn't do what Brock doesn't want to do.
That Heyman promo worked you well, didn't it?
I didn't even watch it live. I watched...
No, not this one from Monday. That one where he discusses the conspiracy theory that Brock took the streak because he wanted to take the streak.
Yeah. But no, even not necessarily with taking the streak, but I just think right now, Brock has the WWE and the UFC bent over like little bitches and takes whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's going to get money from both because he knows he's still got worth left in him.
Yeah.
So I feel like they maybe paid Brock a whole bunch of money and said, you're going to lose to Goldberg. Because they probably don't think that Brock will not necessarily job to somebody, but to the next person that they want to elevate with the status of beating the guy that beat the streak.
Do you think that holds weight?
I feel like that is something, but I feel like if Brock doesn't want to be the guy that loses to, say, like Brock, what's he weigh? 280?
Close pushing 300.
So your hottest people in the business right now or coming up, like we named a whole bunch of them. Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe.
That's a good point.
I do not think that Brock, 280-pound Brock, is going to be, I'm not losing to 195-pound Finn Balor. I'm not losing to Shinsuke Nakamura.
Very good point.
That is
I'm not going to lose, maybe Samoa Joe because he's a little bit bigger.
Maybe like a Kevin Owens.
Yeah. And I don't even know if he jobbed the Kevin Owens.
I don't think he jobbed Kevin Owens either. Samoa Joe I could see because Samoa Joe's also got the monster factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you like? Why waste Brock though on Samoa Joe?
Why waste Brock on Goldberg?
But see, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like,
he'll never accept a loss from someone else.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
if he accepts a loss from Goldberg,
you'd have to pay him a fortune.
But if Vince knows he's keeping a nickel away from Dana White, he'll pay Brock whatever the hell he has to pay him to keep him in the company.
Yeah. But see, this is what I think. So, if they have Brock, they pay him to lose to Goldberg. Goldberg's the guy that beats the streak. And then you say to Goldberg, like, look, we want you to come back and fight Brock. We know in his promo he said he's only doing one more match. But say they got him for 3. And that third one is WrestleMania. And they're like, we're going to set you up against our next guy. Whether that's Finn coming back from his shoulder injury.
We're talking about Brock or Goldberg here?
Goldberg.
Okay.
Pass off the streak onto Goldberg.
Pass off the power level to Goldberg so Goldberg can...
Yeah, and then I feel like Goldberg would be... Like, if he's... I feel like Goldberg, in his mind, he's almost done. He's doing
You're looking at Goldberg as a transitional power level carrier here.
Absolutely, because that goes back to I think Brock is a loose cannon right now.
Yeah.
The steroid scandal, caught for juicing, nothing was done about it in the WWE.
No, because he was a part-timer.
Yeah,
and it was an estrogen blocker.
He's got that taint.
Yeah.
He's notorious for being hard to work with. We still don't know if the whole Randy Orton thing was a work or if it was real.
It was real. No, it was a... No, the work and a real is the same thing. Yeah. No, he made... Randy knew the plan. Randy knew he was going to bleed hard way. Yeah. And then it was a little bit too hard way.
Yeah. So I think he's got that going against him, and being stubborn, the guy that I'm not going to lose to Finn Balor or Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's true.
I feel like...
So you use him Goldberg solely as a transitional vessel, so that you can shift off the streak, and you can shift off the streak and Goldberg's power levels off to the next guy, because Goldberg would accept a loss. Yeah. He would very much take a loss to like a Finn Balor type, because he'd know Finn Balor a hero for the kids. Yeah. I think Goldberg would be very comfortable of.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's kind of what I came down like listening to you guys, because like before that I was just kind of like, well, it could go either way. Like the only other thing I could see them doing is like Brock wins, and then for whatever reason, between both of them being part-timers, and they drag it out until WrestleMania, and then they have that whoever wins this wins, and that's it. But I think
a story could be told where maybe either Goldberg wins it, like if they do a 3-match series till WrestleMania, and then at WrestleMania it's a career versus career match. That would be the ultimate poetry as far as WrestleMania 20 goes, because they both left after WrestleMania 20, and then you have a career versus career match at at WrestleMania 33 next year.
I think it's
31, 32, 33.
Yeah, 33 this year coming up.
Then I think that would be some good poetry. Yeah. But I think we can save some more of this because we're...
Oh, yeah. We'll have a lot more to talk about on this topic for sure, leading up to...
25 minutes deep into this one.
Yeah.
We'll move on. So I'm just going to reaffirm that I think Goldberg's going over Brock.
Yeah, I agree. Goldberg is going over Brock. Yeah, that is. We're all in agreement. So we got you over onto the Goldberg
Let me
side.
redact that.
Now, with that comment...
Brock is beating Goldberg at Survivor Series.
We'll cut all that.
Because it's what makes sense.
In the editing, we'll cut all of that. We'll cut that statement. So moving on, just a quick comment about Hell in a Cell. We're still in our hot news segment. That was our first little topic there. It was quite lengthy, but
was it hot or what?
In our hot news segment, well, it's about to get hotter.
Jeez.
Bayley and Dana Brooke have been added. So I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know why they are obsessed with having 7 matches. And every one of their cards, the Raw ones, I don't get it. But hey.
I feel like it's just them, like, where SmackDown's like, you know what? If we're under 3 hours, that's great. But I feel like Raw's like, we've got to be over 3 hours.
Got to be pushing 3.5 hours.
And the problem with that is, well, let's save that for after the news topic, or I guess we're moving right off that, like Bayley versus Dana Brooke, because they did a horrible thing on Raw with an arm wrestling match. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll move on to that.
To kind of make it about the fact that there's 7 matches on the card, I suppose what we can talk about is like, it's a horrible decision, because like you guys said, like the fact that SmackDown's kept it 2.5 hours or so, like, has been wonderful. Like everything feels smooth, it's flowing, and so when I saw 6 matches on the card, I was like, great, you know what? That might be all right if they're actually doing the whole, if they're doing a full 3 hours, like 6 matches per 2 hours every half, like 2 hours every hour, like plus segments and promos and everything like that in between. Like, great. That sounds like it's gonna flow really nice. It should be great. And then when I saw that they actually went ahead and added Bayley versus Dana Brooke to the main card, I was like, what are you guys doing? 7 matches in 3 hours.
That could have been a pre-show match.
Sure could have. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a 6-man tag now with cruiserweights.
Poor cruiserweights.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But, so, anyway, they got added.
So that kind of concludes the first segment of our podcast, the NeverOver news. If you...
Oh, I don't hate that.
No,
the non?
The non, yeah.
We'll work on the acronym maybe, but the NeverOver news segment. So if you're just joining us, we kind of changed our format up for the Sim/Champions Prediction Night. We're doing a podcast, more or less just talking about the last week and a half that was. If you've been tuning in the whole time, we're not really reading comments or chit-chatting. We're more just giving you a podcast that you can listen to at your leisure. So thanks for joining us. Make sure that this Sunday you tune in with us here at NeverOver Live when we watch Hell in a Cell, and you guys join along with us. Of course, the pre-show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, so we'll move on to our second segment, which was Raw.
May as well talk about the build-up to Hell in a Cell. I
The
suppose.
go-home show before Hell in a Cell. So, first topic we got on the table here is Seth Rollins beating Jericho and Owens simultaneously.
Yeah, you got a double pin there on both Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And, it was a sloppy pin.
Yeah, it was,
at least I thought
it was a double roll up in the corner. I think Seth should have went for the ropes just to make it seem believable. But the fact that he pinned not only the current Universal Champion, but also Chris Jericho,
the
GOAT, Chris Jericho,
yeah.
Off of a sloppy double power
God.
bomb type move with single arms.
The Tower of Power, or the whatever the hell they call that in the corner with like power bomb, suplex, I just gotta go.
Yeah, spot used way too much.
Yeah, multi-man match. So that's so anyway. Yeah, he got the double pin, and then KO beat the crap out of him, which was probably the only redeeming part of Raw.
Yeah,
because the beatdown seemed like it was actually pretty entertaining. They had the camera shots were up close. It seemed like they were going at it.
Turned the road for Kevin Owens' character because I at least I found he's kind of taken a backseat to Chris Jericho
Absolutely,
lately.
yeah.
Like Jericho's just become like and I feel like Jericho isn't even trying. Like I know he's trying, but he's just getting over naturally with the crowd, right? Like
I think he went for the whole like douchey, arrogant gimmick to start. That was his gimmick to start, and then a lot of his mannerisms I think bled through into like online communities and then the fan base themselves, and it snowballed into wow, Jericho is great with all these like talking points. His wrestling turned over really well.
Yeah.
DDP Yoga shout out.
So it seems like he's revived himself quite a bit, and I like Jericho's over as hell.
He got a piece of paper over.
Yeah.
Like arcing to Simon from What Culture, he brought it up during his ups and downs, but Jericho got a piece of paper over more so than anybody's been able. Braun Strowman isn't over. Bo Dallas isn't over. Roman Reigns isn't quite over.
Getting there. He's getting there.
He's getting there. But Chris Jericho 100% got a piece of paper over, which is
the list is over.
Which is incredible. Jericho. No, let's keep going.
I will say this about Seth. Whatever happens on Sunday, if the rumors are true and the whole Hunter thing is going to be a thing,
has to be.
They need to get Seth into that because he is just dying. He's been hunting for that belt for 3 months now, and he hasn't got it. They need to get him away from it into a separate storyline, and I think the Hunter thing is the only thing that's...
I think it's a good out.
It's the only good explanation to get him away from the Universal title. Yeah. And then that way, for the next couple of months, whether it's Jericho and Owens going at it or just other guys getting a shot at it.
That's kind of what I think will happen is Jericho and Owens I think will happen.
This may expose my business a little bit personally, but the way I see Survivor Series going, if I was booking it sitting here right now, is you'd see Seth Rollins and Triple H go in one direction, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens go in another direction. Wherever the belt is to be decided, but that's the direction that you'll see those two feuds
and
go.
I think that's a good way to build up Seth Rollins. Maybe have him versus Stephanie and Triple H.
Yeah. Well, no, but I don't think Triple H and Stephanie are on the same page.
I think they will. I think it'll be revealed that they are.
Are they going to turn on Mick?
No, not necessarily, but they'll be. I think they'll work as a group to try. Yeah, they may push Mick away a bit and then try to like slam Seth with everything, like handicap matches, the classic. Try to bury this guy, and that'll just build Seth. He'll overcome the adversity. He'll beat Triple H at Survivor Series, and then you put him back in the title hunt. Yeah.
To arc back, because I recalled what I was going to say before. And so here's the thing, because with Chris Jericho is a heel. Okay, yeah. No, but listen to me. Chris Jericho's character is a heel.
Yeah, he is a heel.
The crowd in present-day WWE, the WWE universe right now, at least as far as the target demographic of 18 to 34-year-old males, do one interesting thing. Over establishing or cheering for heels or faces, or whoever they want to cheer for, they recognize talent and well execution. Yeah. And that is why Chris Jericho is as over as he is, because Chris Jericho could be a heel his entire career, but he's so good at being a heel that the recognition for his great work is what gets him the reactions he's been getting.
Yeah.
And that, I think, overall is why you're seeing this, the really moment. They put out 2 different Chris Jericho shirts in like 2 weeks here. They had the gift, and now they drink it in, and now they have the you're on the list. Just saw it today on WWEshop.com. You're on the list.
Merch is moving for sure.
So like
him and James Ellsworth are there.
We'll talk about James Ellsworth later.
The top merch sellers.
I think that's what you'll see when it comes to the top of the card right now for Hell in a Cell. Anyway.
So.
And, one side note, rumor is Seth is trying to develop a new finisher.
You're the little rumor rat, aren't you?
Yeah, dirt sheets, baby.
Doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
All right, so now, women's Hell in a Cell contract signing. What? I didn't see this segment at all. So what was that about? Was it entertaining? Was it interesting? They just shoot off promos and they do the classic.
I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Fisticuffs, Brad?
It was the Mick Foley show.
Really?
As it's been Mick Foley presents the Women's Revolution is the way this whole thing has been going, and you've seen it on social media. It's been talked about a lot. Sorry to completely overthrow you here, but Mick Foley seems very, 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 very hands-on when it comes to the Women's Revolution. I don't know whether...
Is he like Donald Trump handsy?
I would hope not, because his daughter's eventually going to make her way into this division. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, like he has been orchestrating and very vocal, like which is fine about the Women's Revolution, but he's segmented it away from the men and created it as very much made it its own thing versus.
Has he made it too unique?
Yeah, exactly.
Has he over? It's like
it's the
here's
thing,
the thing: you want to make it equal, right? And to make it equal, you don't make it weird. You don't over unique it. It's like, oh, the women's wrestling has went through a revolution. It's like, okay, it did. And that was a while ago.
Like, what have we been talking about as far as what SmackDown does with the women's wrestlers?
They feel like men's wrestlers.
Yep, they have their own storylines.
Yep, they have their own feuds.
Like, we'll talk about Alexa and Becky in a bit, but like, it's just
Raw just keeps like they're just keep trying to force it. It's, oh, this is a thing. This is a thing. And it's like. Just go out there and do storylines, promos.
There was a good. Wrestle. I thought it was a good segment. I thought Charlotte did great there. Mick actually was pretty good in the spot as well. He was cautioning the women very, very emotionally about the dangers of Hell in a Cell, which was very, very cool.
Yeah.
And Charlotte just being a great heel about it. I'm sick at Sasha Banks. She's
pushing the whole women's revolution.
That she's leading the women's revolution. Yeah. That's getting a bit annoying, and she can't cut a promo to save her life. I'm getting to the point where she's saying the same thing a million times and she's saying it wrong.
So
it parallels her in-ring ability a bit.
I'll ask you guys about this earlier off camera before we started, but you guys didn't see the tweet that she put out on Tuesday, Sasha. No. Paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly the exact wording, but. It was more or less lots of people reach for the crown, but not a lot are prepared to bleed for it.
Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting foreshadow.
Yeah, I feel like there is going to be blood for the first time in a women's WWE match this Sunday.
I'm ready to see some grit. I'm excited to see what they do. Like, I'm looking forward to the match.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear everything around it. Looking forward to the match, though.
Yeah. If they're
good performers, they have excellent spots when they go at it.
Yeah, because just botches or not, they throw their bodies at each other like crazy, especially Sasha.
Clash of Champions, like they put on
great match. They've consistently been putting on great matches.
Yeah, where they definitely went toe to toe and had some great spots. So
just that everything goes with it seems to always be a bit annoying.
It's
or
weird.
Overdone.
It's
overcooked,
overdone baggage now at this point. So if they wipe the slate clean and start to just develop feuds and storylines, I think that's what they need to do moving forward.
This Sasha and Charlotte thing has to end here.
I got some very interesting some things to say during the pre-show about this match in particular, but we'll save it for then.
Okay.
Sure. So moving on to another element of Raw from Monday night was Cesaro and Sheamus beating the New Day clean.
Yeah. Beat them clean. I don't understand why they even had the match. Don't understand why they put them over clean.
I don't know why you have a tag match leading into a tag match at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense.
And then to have the non-champions go over clean.
Yeah, it's very... I don't know.
Why would you do it?
Yeah.
Due to normal WWE booking on the higher percentage. So whoever
wins the go-home
whoever
show loses the pay-per-view show.
Loses the pay-per-view.
It's always been the case. And like to tie into that, one thing that's been interesting, and just to jump to this topic, Brian Kendrick lost to Rich Swann.
Yeah, we'll move right on to that topic.
For whatever sure he sure, but to Rich Swann.
Yeah, that's
why
weird.
that. And then you cut the emotional backstage segment where Brian's like, I need this win, TJ. Just give me the win. Like, I need it more than you do, which is great. It would have been better to have Brian win, so Brian's like actually has some weight and doesn't look like a friggin' weasel about it. So like, I don't understand what's gonna like. It can be said that it's kind of obvious what's gonna happen in Hell in a Cell, but like just to have Brian lose Monday was just stupid. It was just stupid in my opinion. I don't know you guys.
I don't get it. I don't know if you're like you have the. I don't know. I don't know why.
It's baffling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the best way to describe it. You introduce a third party, not a part of the storyline, and then you just have him beat the like competitor,
the number one contender.
Yeah, why then?
Who just beat the champion the week before? Via submission.
Why have a number one contender if you're gonna have him beat by a third party guy?
It was like when Alexa lost to Naomi on at No Mercy.
Yeah.
Like why would you do it?
Well, a lot of people think she was gonna lose. She was probably going to lose anyway, so why change it?
I don't know. I think it would have put Alexa over as a bigger threat to Becky.
They should have tweaked that in the fly, but that's nothing we can do about that one now. So to roll on then,
you
get another point there, Brad? Before
I was going to say, I love the cruiserweights.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to be a wrestler, I would be a cruiserweight, and this is kind of, when they said this was coming, I was really excited for this. And a lot of people, I like listening to stuff online. A lot of people, there's a lot of rumors Vince is upset that the cruiserweights aren't getting over the way that they thought they were going to, the way the Cruiserweight Classic was such a big thing. And a lot of it is they think that TJ Perkins was the wrong guy to put the belt on, to be the first Cruiserweight champion.
I think it was improper to have the crossover from I think it was improper for the prize, the Cruiserweight Classic, to end up being the Cruiserweight Championship. I think that was the problem that they had to carry on.
So I think so they're kind of in a tough spot now. They've got a champion that people don't seem to believe in. He is boring. Like, I listened to him on the Jericho podcast, and I had to stop it about 20 minutes in because he's just boring. Like,
cliche demeanor, his tone is poor.
Yeah.
He can't read. Yeah. He can't cut a promo to save his life.
Yeah, so it's just the cruiserweights. I think what they need to do right now to kind of give it some life. Kendrick's gonna win on Sunday. He's a heel, and Rich Swann's doing double time between.
Do you have him go? So's TJ though. But do you have Brian going over clean?
Yeah, I think Brian will win again by submission, just to prove that he's the badass cruiserweight, right?
Interesting booking.
You give the championship to the villain. So whether I know people like Rich Swann, I don't think Rich Swann is the right person to go for it. Yeah. Honestly, they put Sin Cara in that
6-man in the pre-show.
Yeah, but they've moved Sin Cara into the cruiserweight division now. This is what I've wanted forever. Move Neville into the cruiserweight division because you're doing nothing with that talent.
He could bring incredible prestige to that championship.
And you have him chase Brian Kendrick for that title?
Former NXT champion.
Yeah.
One of the longest reigning.
Yeah.
So you bring him in and let him chase Kendrick for that title?
Yeah.
The Cruiserweight's got a lot of people where they could have some great storylines week to week.
Yeah, and for whatever, I feel bad for Kalisto because he's just over kicking tires in SmackDown Live, where he could be really, if they were going to commit to that Cruiserweight division, that's where he'd be.
Yeah.
He'd be over on Raw.
And And that's just the thing, like, too, because the cruiserweights aren't getting over. They were supposed to do one on They're supposed to do one on SmackDown because there's a lot of guys that they announced that were going to be in the cruiserweight division, and it's been 2 months now.
We've only seen about 6 guys.
And they haven't appeared on the show yet. Like, 2 weeks ago, Sin Cara and some other guy were in a tag match, and they moved him from SmackDown to Raw because they decided to axe the cruiserweight division on SmackDown.
So maybe we'll see Kalisto on Raw. They're still sitting on Noam Dar, who was that young, like 20-something, like 20 years old, the Irish guy, who was in the cruiserweight class. They're still sitting on him, so I think he's due to debut, and I think there's actually a good bit of hype kind of surrounding him. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Your booking is interesting, is what I'll say about that. But I think there's a lot they can do as far as elevating the cruiserweight division, because without everything around it, watching it's fun, but as far as actually giving it authenticity, I think there's a lot that can be done there.
And then putting at least the big cruiserweight match in the dead zone of that first 20 minutes of the third hour is not the right place for it to be, because the crowd is just... That's the hardest. Like, you need to have, like, a good storyline in that section. Not like, if they had the cruiserweights come out, like, you do your opening promo or whatever, and then you have the cruiserweights come out and stop changing the ropes. Like, like, just fucking let it be the same ring. Don't make it like a super special thing.
Yeah, maybe putting the spotlight on it is hurting it more so than helping it. Like, maybe they need to integrate it and be a part of Raw more than it has been.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so another segment on Raw was the Bayley Dana Brooke arm wrestling match.
Awful.
That
crowd literally started chanting "boring" during it because it's I don't know what they were thinking there. I think they should have just let them do either like a backstage segment where Dana beats Bayley down and then go like that, because they've really separated Charlotte and Dana Brooke now.
Yeah.
And I don't really see the point, and it's pretty obvious what's going to happen with that feud.
Like, there's so many good rivalries that could be going on in that women's division right now, but they're doing the same stuff.
Yeah, very repetitive. Very can't seem to get out of their own way.
And where's Nia Jax?
Yeah, well,
they were giving her squash matches.
Who knows where Nia Jax is?
All over the place. And
who knows where Nia Jax may be?
She's nowheres to be found now.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be seeing her soon enough.
Oh, you do you?
I'm sure we'll... Anyway.
Keep stroking that peach fuzz.
I will. Longest peach fuzz on this couch.
That's true.
All right. So, last but certainly not least, the very, very odd promo that was Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar.
Oh.
Very, very weird. Yeah. Very lackluster. Not sure why they tried to make Brock very super heel in his hometown. I don't know why they thought that would work, but the whole thing just like it seemed like Paul knew that this isn't gonna work, and then he was just weird the whole time, which is too bad because Paul Heyman, great promo guy,
greatest in the company right now, if not of all time. So
I feel like that was you're giving me a check, so I'm gonna do what you tell me to do.
I don't know. I don't think Paul's in it for the money. I think Paul loves the performance, and so I think when I said this to Dawson after Raw, after we watched the segment, I was like, because I went back and I watched Brock's homecoming to Minnesota after WrestleMania, after Battleground. So Undertaker just came back, and Brock had already beaten the streak. Like, Brock was pretty over as a heel. Yeah. But Brock was somehow turning to face, because when he was facing Seth Rollins and he was destroying Seth Rollins, he was over for Battleground, and then Undertaker came in and interfered. So then Brock did a homecoming show in Minnesota for Brock. Huge pop for Brock to come out. This, like, they chanted, they were on their feet cheering for Brock for 3 minutes after his intro. Paul, in his infinite wisdom, decides to go with a promo where he literally gets down on his knees and sings to Brock Lesnar, "Oh glory is the conqueror." Like, sings a full, like, song about Brock. The crowd gets into it and starts singing it with him. Like, you couldn't get Brock over as a heel in Minnesota if you...
Yeah.
So, they come over to do a homecoming show yet again. Sure, Goldberg was a very good face 2 weeks ago, but you get Brock coming to home this past Monday night. Paul knew it wasn't going to work. I think Brock hated the idea, which is why you've seen them cut it short. Because I guess they popped Brock's music early and then they pieced out of there because Paul stuttered. And when Paul started stuttering on the promo, I looked at Dawson. I said, "What is going on? Like, Paul's working me. Paul knows what he's doing right now, stuttering. Why is he stuttering? What's this getting at?" And I think Dawson even said,
I was like, partway through it, I was like, "Where are you going with this, Paul? Like, you have a point. Yeah, you always have a point. What are you driving towards?" And then it ended with no point, and it was like, God, that was weird.
Which I'm sure it was supposed to end with Goldberg see at Survivor Series because they announced it on social media.
Yeah.
Like they announced the marquee match on social media, where I'm sure Paul or Brock was supposed to grab the mic and be like, "Goldberg, see you at Survivor Series," and then Goldberg,
I'll see you at Survivor Series.
Yeah, it was very poorly handled in my opinion.
I don't know. Yeah, if you can say anything more than that, it was a bad decision,
and
that's that.
That's just it. Yeah.
A lot of things,
and a lot of people are blaming it on Vince, like being too old and out of touch. But a lot of people say that Vince
creative could have easily put the kibosh on that and been like, "Vince, you're a territory guy. You're trying to get a hometown boy over as a heel in his own hometown." I don't think Vince made that call.
No, something somewhere. I don't know. I'd love to know the background to that, but I don't know. The whole thing was just weird. So
one little thing before we slip off into the next subject, I just want to comment that Enzo beat Carl Anderson clean in what looked like a squash match. And it was pretty trash. And so we'll see those two tag teams go to Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I missed. Yeah, sorry about that. I missed that point. Please give the club a win. Please.
I loved how into Enzo and Cass have the crowd as faces.
They're over as hell. Which is why they're keeping them away from New Day.
They didn't even have to have mics for the crowd to be able to
that
finish.
Was pretty cool.
I liked Enzo and Cass before. Like, there's something different. There's something I like a little bit more about them than the New Day, even though they kind of do the same
kind of things. Yeah,
same kind of wisecracking type of thing.
But cheap pops.
Yep.
But Enzo and Cass, there's something about them I like. I mean, I understand why people like the New Day. I just don't get it. Like, I don't like them, but
I like the New Day.
Well, no, that's just it. Like, I can totally respect somebody who does. It's just it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
But like when Enzo and Cass got that crowd going and doing their lines without them having to do anything,
that was pretty cool.
I was like, wow. But yeah. Oh, that was pretty cool.
Big ups on the club for basically being
please give the club a win.
Please, let us put you over.
Yeah.
Please give the club a win. Please.
Please put that down.
Please give the club a win.
That's enough. Let's put that back down.
The club need a win.
They do.
God, when was the last time they won? AJ was there was still one show.
Yeah, when they beat Enzo and Cass when they were doing the whole John Cena AJ thing. I guess.
Whatever. They need a win.
Anyway, they might get it. Hell in a Cell.
We'll see this Sunday at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're just joining us or you've been kind of joined us partway through that whole segment, we've switched up our program a little bit here on Wednesday nights. Instead of doing the Sim and Brad's championship picks, we've decided to kind of change it around where the Sim will happen in the background, but we're going to do like a podcast. We're going to talk about the last week and a half that was. The wrestling, kind of recap everything that's gone down, give our thoughts, kind of discuss it, and we're not really interacting with the comments, so if you've been commenting, we really appreciate you, stopping in, trying to, chat amongst yourselves. But, this is more for if you're at work or, you're at school or something, you got a break, like to just, put it on in the background and get some work done, that kind of thing, and listen to our thoughts and, maybe take some of what we say and kind of build upon it. So, but a lot of this is driving the segment that we just concluded was for Raw, and that's driving towards Hell in a Cell. They had their going home match. So, you can join us here live Sunday, October 30th, when Hell in a Cell occurs. Our pre-show will start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Benjamin and I will do our predictions. Any questions that come in, we'll talk about it, and we'll roll right into the pay-per-view that will start at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, with that said, our final segment of the night is to talk about SmackDown from last night.
Talk about SmackDown real quick. We'll go through it, see what they got up to over on the should be A but is still B list show.
It's considered the B show, but SmackDown is, I think, largely with the crowd and the universe, is the A show.
Before we get into SmackDown, because we've gone through 5 of the 7 possible matches that we can do in 2K16 on the sim.
Yep.
So we have 5 results for that. What do you guys want to throw up on the screen? Give me just 2 random. We can do just a weird match. We can do a no holds barred. Just 2 randoms. Do you guys want to pick somebody? You pick one, you pick the other?
We went through all of our matches.
We went through 5 of the 7 matches.
Oh, wow.
So we'll recap that at the end.
Just throw a Rumble up there.
Just throw a Rumble up there. Sure. I don't think I have to pick. That don't have the Rumble? They do have a Rumble.
I was going to say they must have the Rumble.
10-man, 20-man, 20-man?
Let's do 20-man. Yeah. I think 20-man will be long enough.
Yeah.
Can you randomize all of it? Is there like a...
Oh, yeah. They're all computers and they're all random.
Away we go.
Boy. This shit should have done this. Now I'm going to be like, okay, who's first?
Goldust and Mr. Perfect.
Wow.
Okay.
So anyway, SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Live, yep. So... Now, I never seen SmackDown Live, so a lot of my questions, there are going to be more questions, my points, than actual talking points. But Orton joins the Wyatt family?
This will be actually an interesting way.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I kind of seen chunks of it all through it.
Open the show, it was Bray Wyatt versus Kane in a no disqualifications match.
Again.
Luke Harper came out and interfered with the match. Randy Orton then came out to what looked like make the save, but then he RKO'd Kane out of nowhere. Seemingly, he would later on in a backstage segment, when asked about why he did what he did, he would take a long pause and then say, when you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Now, I wonder if that's going to be like Cena Nexus kind of stuff.
Is it going to be like Cena Nexus? Is it going to be like Daniel Bryan in the Wyatts, where it's just like he's the rat that gets in and takes it down from the inside?
Yeah.
I would love to see people start to join the Wyatt family.
I would too.
Because that's how you get Bray back on top.
That's how you build Survivor Series.
But it's Team SmackDown versus Team Raw, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be SmackDown's team.
Would be the Wyatt family?
Yeah, and then you bring them back to SmackDown and steamroll those who didn't join.
I suppose you could. I suppose that could be the way they build the SmackDown.
If they're thinking about doing it that way.
Because they've already to touch on some of the notes that we're going to go through already. They've already
might as well just bring it up and mention
that they've added the Hype Bros and Heath Slater. I want to default to call them Sly now.
Sly now is easier. Hashtag Sly now.
So they added the Hype Bros and Sly to the SmackDown Tag Team Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination Tag Team match
by beating the Ascension.
Yeah,
that one is going to be a gong show.
That's going to be 10 men on each apron.
It's just stupid. You're not going to be able to throw anybody into the ropes because there's going to be guys all
lumberjack-esque match.
That's going to break down
and it's elimination. Quick. Yeah, that was going to be quick. You got Nikki Bella leading the SmackDown Live women's team over Natalya. I didn't like that call. I think Natalya should have been on that team. Because now Natalya can't be on the team. That was the rule in that match. So Natalya is not going to be on that team. And then Carmella came out and beaten up Nikki Bella again. So it's like, why? When are they going to have that match? It's not happening in Survivor Series now because they're doing, Nikki's leading the tag team.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't think you're going to see very many individual matches at Survivor Series.
Big ones. Just the champion. The main titles.
I would
titles
love
and Brock and Goldberg.
Yeah. I would love to see, champion versus champion just for,
Clash of Champions. That's what your Clash of Champions should be.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
You don't have to put the belts on the line. You don't have to do any stupid unifying, anything like that. Just AJ and Kevin Owens just have a one-off.
Wow, that'd be good.
And then you're like, whose brand is better? Whoever's champion comes out on top.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, it would be AJ Styles.
Because there's still rumors swirling around that the stipulation could be like, and I'm wondering if it's per division, if the rumors are correct, that the winning brand will get the opportunity to poach 3 stars.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And so it could be one from each group. It could be if like SmackDown wins, say the tag team and the women's, that they get to pull a Raw tag team and a Raw woman over. Or
I would like that.
Win a pick.
It would add stakes.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah, it would.
Like
It would add a lot of value to Survivor Series. Yeah. It would make it, because of the big 4, Survivor Series is the one that kind of lacks.
It lost its luster.
It lost its luster.
Because they stopped really caring about the main gimmick around Survivor Series, which is the 5 versus 5 elimination.
Surviving.
Yeah. Sole Survivor. Because they throughout Miz and Dolph Ziggler's promos, they marketed Ziggler as a sole survivor. He's a former world champion, former Intercontinental champion, and a sole survivor because he survived a 4 versus 1 or 3 versus 1 Survivor Series tag team match. It was an accolade.
Yeah, need to get back to that kind of mentality. So
that's.
But having the Wyatt family in on no, they don't really fit anywhere. Maybe the single groups. I don't know.
Goldust just chucked Brock Lesnar over the top.
As he would in real life.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know if Orton, and kind of circling back around, I don't know if Orton and the Wyatt family would fit into that kind of thing. I don't know where you'd fit them in.
Unless you put all 5 of them in the Wyatt. Unless you like Wyatt slow, and then they pull Kane in.
Yeah.
And then there's the 4th, and then they pull a 5th guy like into the Wyatt family. Like that's what they do, is they create a bigger Wyatt family. Yeah. And then they go into the 5-man, they win the 5-man, and then they become this unstoppable stable eventually. Because once AJ and Dean Ambrose are done,
what are either one
up
of those
there?
Going to do? Yeah.
Bray Wyatt never got his shot at the belt yet, which has been like teased because he was in that main event picture forever.
That's what you do.
You build the Wyatt family as the stable. You put the belt on Wyatt, and then I think you can do a lot there.
You have SmackDown win the tag team elimination matches,
and
they poach the club, and then you have the Wyatt stable go after AJ, who then has the club to back him up. And you have the club versus
the Usos or something.
Could you imagine the women get that? Would be
That would be pretty cool, actually. Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh my God.
The Usos in the club and AJ versus the Wyatt family, consisting of Kane and
Randy, and then.
It's too bad Eric Rowan's hurt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's too bad Eric Rowan's hurt, and it's too bad Baron Corbin is literally a lone wolf.
Yeah.
He does his own thing.
Yeah.
Although if they brought him into that, then that would change his character around, like give him a little bit.
Yeah. So kind of just to summarize what we've talked about already, we've hit a few points from SmackDown last night. So we also mentioned about how the Hype Bros beat the Ascension to join Team Salino in the Tag Team Survivor match. For the SmackDown side of things, Team SmackDown, we also talked about how Nikki Bella went over on Natalya to lead, to become the leader of the women's Survivor Series team,
eliminating Natalya from even being in the match, which I think was a bad move.
Yeah,
bad stipulation.
So and then
she's the only other like women's wrestler.
Yeah. And then Carmella came out and beat down Nikki. So then another talking point here: Alexa Bliss interrupts Becky Lynch's return, beats her down. And then they've established a title match in 2 weeks in Scotland.
So the title match have been hyping now for a few weeks, but Becky came out, just barely started cutting a promo, and then Alexa came out.
Yeah.
And
great heel move.
Alexa cut a great promo.
She did. She's getting really good on the mic.
She's been good, man. She's such a good heel. I'm such an Alexa mark. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But she cut a great promo, and then she spray painted Becky's back. Yellow, calling her yellow tail or whatever the hell. It's an old wrestling tactic, I guess, to mark that you're a coward, and because they were supposed to face it no mercy, and
she's got a lot of excellent heel mannerisms. Yeah. We seen the development of the next Trish Stratus.
I really think
that's what everybody's saying. Yeah.
I really think she's got the potential to be great.
I haven't seen her wrestle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I haven't seen her wrestle enough. Does she got the same ability?
She has a lot of potential in her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's polishing that diamond.
Yeah. What I found interesting about her...
Polishing something else, too.
One of Blake and Murphy. One of those two.
Yeah. I found interesting in her promo that she was alluding to the reason why Becky wasn't at No Mercy.
Yep.
Was because she was having back surgery. I found it weird why I feel like the WWE is really trying to cover up why Becky couldn't wrestle.
I think I know what it is.
And then for some reason I thought, is she pregnant? But they wouldn't let her go out to the ring pregnant and take that bump into the post.
That's why she said during a recent con that she got something removed. And that's something that a lot of people are starting to speculate is what she did.
Oh.
And I think she probably made a decision. And I think WWE wanted to keep her on the shelf for a while to recoup, make sure that she was all good. That's why they're not disclosing why, but I think that may have been what happened, and she made a career move. Because she's in a relationship, if not engaged, to an MMA fighter.
Okay.
So anyway, I think that may have been what happened, and I think given both their respective fields of combat sport,
yeah,
I think a career decision was made, and I think that was the procedure she went under for. So I think they kept her on the shelf for that period of time, gave her the time she needed to kind of physically and mentally get back. Now she's back, she's champ.
Yeah,
I think
start rolling with business again.
Yeah, so I think that's a very fair theory. Anyway, is what we'll call it. But Alexa Bliss looking strong going into their title match 2 weeks, which is good. They're hyping a match 2 weeks. 2 weeks away.
SmackDown does a great job. Hype matches. Yeah, they're going to build it.
And they've been doing it every week.
Yeah.
I'm talking Smack. They've been
non-pay-per-view.
They've been hyping matches every week, like for the next week, like with James Ellsworth and like with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose this week. They started hyping it last week.
Yeah.
They're hyping matches week over week, which makes you want to tune in. Raw. I don't want to watch Raw because I don't know what I'm getting into. And the ambiguity is why I tune in, but then it just ends up being shit yet again.
Yeah, I was going to say, plus it's been a rolling ball of garbage for the past few weeks. So it's like, it's tough to get invested when you're like, I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
Trash.
Yeah. Could be weird promos. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like them losing ratings, like Raw losing ratings to Monday Night Football is really, I don't know. I feel like it gets to Vince for whatever reason.
It could, yeah.
Weird decisions.
Terrible decisions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So then the final point was kind of just AJ Styles defeats Dean Ambrose via disqualification when James Ellsworth kicks AJ. Can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is James Ellsworth? And I say that kind of knowing who he is in the sense that he was a jobber and he got over.
He was the first Braun Strowman jobber.
Yeah, and he's
with the blonde, slick back hair, the
no chin,
and the baby fat.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy got pulled back to SmackDown for what reason again? I forget. To be Miz's tag team partner that one time, to be AJ's tag team partner, and then Miz skull crushing finale him on the ramp.
Yeah.
And because the crowd went nuts when they saw him, they were like, "Holy crap, it's that jobber!"
Yeah.
And then he gets memed out of that main event match because of the Miz.
Yeah.
And then he just comes back again. And now they got him in that. They got him at the top of the card, and he's over as hell. He's selling more merch than the Shield combined.
Yeah, I listened to he did a podcast with Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
and he's been working with the WWE for about 10 years.
No doubt.
Like he works dark matches and house shows and stuff like that. Like he was saying the show that his first show against Braun Strowman, like. He was just there, like he was one of the guys. Like they call in a bunch of like local enhancements and stuff. Like they were in town, they were like, and
hey,
I forget
one day contract.
Pat Patterson's still around.
Yeah, he's an agent.
Yeah, I think Pat saw him. He's like, hey kid, like, what do you want a spot tonight? And that's all it was. Like he said, Pat Patterson. Like I asked Pat why he picked me. He's like, you just had an interesting look. And if one thing you can say about James Ellsworth is he has an interesting look.
Very interesting look.
But and he's like a journeyman wrestler. Like he's been wrestling for 20 years. He's been running his own promotion in school too. So
he hit that kick that I alluded to in that.
Yeah,
was a super kick.
Yeah,
the no chin music they're calling it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it was like
comical.
And I could tell too, like when they were getting to that point just before the super kick, like he was getting all fired up and it's like, oh my god, what is James Ellsworth's finishing move going to be here?
It's a great super kick too.
And I was a little disappointed because it's a super kick because it's the most overused fucking move in wrestling right now is the super kick.
Yeah.
But when they called it the no chin music, I just busted a gut. And I was like, that is the perfect name for that. And I was like totally sold on it after that. And I was like, okay, cool, fine,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I think he's over.
Yeah.
Like, he's over. They've done it. Because I think it's still the stigma thing with SmackDown is like you just like they've done this before where they've like thrown the buddy in there and the top of the card to kind of be the comic relief type, and then it starts getting serious. They've done that on Raw like 10 years ago, but they're doing it on SmackDown now because they're just they're just doing it right. I don't know.
I
SmackDown
feel like
used to suck and now it doesn't, and it's great. I don't know how to handle when they're doing things well or doing the same things. It doesn't feel the same. It feels different. I love it. I love it. It's great.
Dean and James Ellsworth, I feel like could work really good as a tag team.
And if they feud and it gets taken seriously, I'll still watch it because it seems like that's where they're gonna go because he just screwed Dean out of number one contendership.
Yeah.
Because that match was for the match they had. If Dean won, he was the number one contender. Ellsworth super kicks him in the face. That just ruined Dean Ambrose's chance of being the number one contender.
So yeah.
So what the hell are they? Ellsworth versus Ambrose on SmackDown next week for the number one contendership?
Yeah, I know you're gonna have to tune in to find out.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I can't wait because I love SmackDown Live.
I have one thing. I don't know if we're going on to this next or not, but one thing I'm gonna add here, kind of a little bit futuristic booking on my hand.
Sure.
So for the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks for sure.
You've been stat track? No.
Slino, Heath Slater, Rhino, and Dolph have teamed up to take on the Spirit Squad and The Miz. Possibility Dolph moves into the Slino or to the Rhino spot when Rhino has to leave to go run Michigan.
What is they call? Why can the New Day
Freebird rule?
Freebird rule.
So do they bring in Dolph under the Freebird rule and slowly slide Rhino out? Could you do that?
You could. I could see Dolph walking out with both belts wrapped around him.
I could see Rhino just up and being like, "See ya."
Yeah.
And then Heath Slater having both belts because that'll keep Heath Slater crazy over if he's somehow comically winning every week.
A single man tag team.
The one man tag team.
The one man band, baby.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I think that's what. I don't think Dolph gets in with 2 belts. I don't think he's that. I don't think he deserves that. But I think that's how you do it.
The one man and have him win for a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Win a couple weeks, beat the Ascension in the tag team title match, beat the Hyper. Beat the Ascension. Don't beat the Usos. He can't beat. He cannot alone beat the Usos.
No.
And then you put Kane with them just to ruin Kane more.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think that's it for SmackDown.
That concludes our SmackDown segment. So if you're just joining us, we've changed our format a bit here. We decided to move it away from the sim and champions picks to more of a podcast where we discuss the past week and a half of wrestling. Thanks for joining us. If you want to check out the podcast or you missed some of it, feel free to go back, rewatch it. It's a great thing to, if you're working or you're at school, you got a break and you want something to listen to, you can toss us in, kind of get your thoughts. Here are our thoughts about what we think's going on. So, make sure to tune in this Sunday when we watch Hell in a Cell. Our pre-show will start at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, come, join us, and if you have any questions, and we'll chit-chat amongst the group, the people who show up. Hell in a Cell will be interesting, maybe solely for the fact that Raw's been pretty not good. So maybe that's what'll make it. Maybe that's the draw. Maybe that's Raw's
It's
draw.
like watching a car crash every Monday night for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like falling asleep for about a half hour, 45
or just
minutes.
checking out until Brock's music hit.
Yeah.
Come and sit down. Watch Raw for an hour. Be like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go play Battlefield 1 now, and then hear Brock's music hit. Come back out, see it, be like, wow, that was garbage, and go back to Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. So I think now we'll kind of just wrap up.
Brad's got his predictions to drop, of course.
I wanna add one quick thing really quickly before we get into the predictions. Total Bellas. Gotta say, I've been watching it. I watched the first episode because I was curious.
You married man.
I missed. Well, I shouldn't say she hates it. She has
Her reservations.
On the iPad. Paying attention, but she's really paying attention. Watched the third episode, and I gotta say, I am very intrigued by this show for the Daniel Bryan aspect.
No doubt.
What that man is going through in that TV show is heartbreaking.
No doubt. The guy has to give up everything he loves, and that show's there to chronicle it. I'm sure that's very interesting psyche.
This, the one that I just watched, Brie had to leave because she was doing a show. I think it was like WrestleMania weekend or something like that.
Yeah, our last one.
Or no, she hadn't quite got there yet. They were. Anyway, so she had days or whatever it is that they do their shows. And Nikki decided to take Daniel to NXT because Nikki and John live in Florida. He was watching everybody and he was talking to Sami Zayn and stuff. And Brian was saying like how he doesn't think he'd be like a good teacher or anything like that. And he was like talking with Sami. And he went over how when he was preparing to come back, how of wrestling specific.
Oh man.
And he said it was going to be very animalistic. Like he was doing a lot of stuff where he was like
probably strong, very strong style, very
like he was down on like his hands and his feet, like a lot of like crawling and moving and rolling and stuff, very quick,
evasive,
very quick, very agile. And I'm like, what could have been? Like if you had to give the streak to the guy, like beat the guy who beat the streak,
that would have been the guy.
That would have been the guy. Like you would have put Daniel Bryan up against Brock Lesnar, and Daniel Bryan would have been legendary after that.
Yeah.
Not that he's not now, but that would have just cemented him. He could have beat Brock and quit after that, and not.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I'm kind of Total Bellas has kind of grown on me for the Daniel Bryan aspect, and to be perfectly honest, John Cena. Watching, I don't know if John Cena is acting for the cameras in this, or if this is real John Cena, or what. But my God, I don't know. I want to say it's funny, but he's also like a very anal man. Everything has to be in a certain way. Like,
I've heard that.
It's his house, his rules. If you don't like it, get out. Like people are like scared of him in his own house.
No doubt.
Like Brian,
dude's an alpha male, like all through and through, like always has been probably. So I'm like,
but he just comes off as a dick, like, and like, the Bella's brother, like he was asking John, like, you know, can you talk to people at NXT to see if I can get? And John's like, what are you saying? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. And like JJ is basically saying, he's basically saying, John, can you get me into NXT without having to try out or anything?
Yeah.
And the Bella's moms are
John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, John Laurinaitis is marrying the Bella's moms. No, the Bella's mom.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a lot of stuff going on there. It's a train wreck, but it's like it's interesting to watch.
I can't get enough.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah.
Can we wrap this up? I gotta watch an episode. So, The Sim. How did The Sim get along? Now, I've kind of, seen some things. I took note of the first one, and then I just lost track of it completely. I kind of, when I look through the list, I kind of see who won, but...
So we did 5 of the 7 Hell in a Cell matches on the simulation, just because we're running on an outdated simulation, but we're hopefully going to remedy that. Maybe we'll run it on we'll run 2K17 on the PlayStation or something like that, and we'll find a way to do that, but... So, out of the 5 of the 7, the 2 matches that we didn't cover were Bayley versus Dana Brooke and TJ Perkins versus the Brian Kendrick. So for the New Day versus Cesaro, we had the simulation had Cesaro and Sheamus winning. For Enzo and Cass versus Anderson and Gallows, they had the club winning, surprisingly enough. For the United States Championship match, Rusev and Roman Reigns, the simulation had Rusev regaining the United States Championship. For the inaugural Women's Hell in a Cell match, they had Charlotte regaining over Sasha Banks. And then for the Universal Championship Hell in a Cell picture, they had Seth Rollins regaining. So they had all new champions coming back.
I'll just say this, Benjamin. I'm feeling real good about you beating the Sim this week. I'm feeling real good.
Yeah,
you'll finally.
Considering we had 3 very interesting championship picks and then 2 non-picks, so I think my chances are not bad.
I think you're 4 new champions: Club, Rusev, Charlotte, Seth.
Cesaro and Sheamus, Rusev, Charlotte, Seth.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So it's thinking that there's going to be 4 of the 5 championship matches that are happening in Hell in a Cell. We're going to see 4 new champions.
Should we flip a coin now to determine TJ Perkin and
Hello, camera.
The Brian Kendrick?
So we get a dime, which is exactly what Roman Reigns can't draw. So we'll do the cruiserweight match first. So TJ heads, Brian Kendrick tails.
Yep. TJ heads.
It's heads. So
TJ Perkins.
TJ
retains. Thanks to the coin flip.
And then for Bayley and Dana Brooke, we'll go Bayley heads, Sasha Banks tails.
Dana Brooke tails. Yeah.
Heads. Bayley.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Well, he said Sasha.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, rip. So Club, Cesaro, Sheamus, Rusev, Charlotte, Seth, TJ, Bayley. Brad, the champion. Let's look at his cute little notes there. His cute little picture. Look at that.
The NeverOver champion.
What a cheap plug. Oh my god.
That sexy belt.
Cheap.
Very sexy belt there.
Cheap pop.
Cheap. Okay, carry on.
So I'll start at the bottom and
Sure.
go to the top.
Wherever you'd like.
So Bayley versus Dana. I have Bayley winning.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley's lost 2 straight to Dana. And I feel like you got to give Bayley a win.
Yeah, you got to balance the books.
Yeah,
at some
you got to
point.
balance it out.
Mm-hmm.
So Enzo and Cass versus the Club. I am giving the win to the Club because my God, the Club need a win.
Let the club win a match, please. Let the Club win once, please. They need a win.
It's not for the belts, so the Club's gonna win. That's gonna help make them look strong when they eventually do go for the belts.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just because with the push, like we're putting the tag team division on notice. You got to give the Club the win. If you're gonna have them come out and make that statement, then you got to give the Club the win.
Yep.
So, and Enzo and Cass are a team that can take the loss, and it's not going to hurt them.
That's a good point. Great point.
Especially after this Monday.
Yeah.
So, New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus.
Mm-hmm. Cesaro,
yeah. There is no chance in hell that you are seeing anybody lose to the New Day until they pass that 490-day mark. Or 400, whatever it is, that the tag team title.
Yeah.
Until the New Day passes that, you're not seeing anybody win that. So
That's a very good
Cesaro
point.
and Sheamus are going to lose. And then eventually, once probably the Rumble is where it'll happen because that lines up timeline-wise for the next month and a half. If it is Cesaro and Sheamus, they'll probably win it. And then you will just... WrestleMania, you'll probably see the Club win it by WrestleMania.
Very good.
Long-term booking.
Carry on. Hashtag long-term booking.
Long-term booking.
Continue.
So we talked about this one earlier. TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. I have Brian Kendrick winning because you got to do something with that cruiserweight division to make it interesting again. So you give the villain the win.
Carry on. Yes.
He's got the most mic skills. I don't know. I think it just kind of makes sense to kind of Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some good stroking you guys got going on there.
Carry on.
All right.
Bit of pattern.
Some good stroking.
Roman versus Ruru. I got Roman winning.
Ruru.
I don't think you're gonna see Roman lose that one. Roman has been in Hell in a Cell match before, and Rusev hasn't.
Rusev is losing the facial hair battle.
Yeah, he is. I don't know what's going on with those Wolverine mutton chops.
He got rid of the mustache like a cock.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins.
Jesus.
You got Seth Rollins.
Even you left the women for the main event.
That's a good point. Who do you got? KO?
KO.
You got KO?
KO.
Good for you, Mick.
With Seth doing something stupid off the top of the cell.
Can only pray.
Right.
And then some Hunter shenanigans.
Yeah.
And see how we were talking earlier about how the WWE just drops stuff?
Yeah.
They just dropped Hunter. Like,
off the face of a... Yeah.
Other than Steph that week, the 2 weeks after, being like, I have no idea what Hunter's doing, they've dropped it. Like, just dropped it. So I think you need to inject Hunter back in there.
If you don't, it's just weird. It's, Raw has no idea what they're doing if they just drop that off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
And then the main event. Thanks, Mick.
Sasha versus Charlotte, and Sasha is winning, and she's not going to lose her belt.
And
this should be the blow-off match for these two women. Because, my God, I want to see those two fight somebody else. And I hope to God that Sasha doesn't move on to fighting Bayley.
Yeah.
Like, you've got a monster in Nia Jax. Either Dana Brooke or Charlotte, I feel, physically at least, are capable of dealing with Nia Jax.
I suppose only time will tell.
That is true.
So those are Brad's picks. We'll get those updated into the table, and we'll have those up. We'll probably tweet out those picks as well. So make sure you follow us over at Twitter at NeverOver one piece of business I think we'll do to wrap up the show is I think we'll introduce.
I don't think so. I think we should wait. I think we should wait
until the pre-show.
Yep. We could
say what
tease
it is. I suppose.
We'll tease it a little bit.
So we've been working pretty hard over the last little while. Like, this is something that we take semi seriously. It's kind of fun.
Some more than others.
You get passionate.
Yeah.
You get passionate. So in the lieu of passion, when it comes to NeverOver, we have this. So the ultimate prize of the business that we're in right now in the predictions game is this little number right here. Is the NeverOver Live Prediction Championship, which looks very
alarmingly
very similar to the current WWE World Championship that is currently held by the phenomenal one AJ Styles.
Very odd.
It's very similar.
We're working out the legalities.
A little smaller, but it looks quite similar. So in the very near future, aka this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern during our Hell in a Cell pre-show that you can see right here on our YouTube channel, you may or may not see the unveiling of a brand new, completely original
Labor of Love
NeverOver Championship. So make sure you tune in Sunday, October 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern for our live pre-show and new championship unveiling. It should be
with the new two-time champion. This guy.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Oh, wow. I just got sickening pains in my stomach. Oh.
This Sunday.
It was hard enough letting you have so much mic
time. Two-time champion right here. I'll take home the new belt.
It was hard enough watching you host this.
It'd be great. Was it?
Is this what it's like when you guys have to deal with me talking all the time? And then I talked good.
You're worse.
It's worse. Are you going to bring your game this Sunday? Like,
please.
Are you going to try?
Please take some notes from Brad here.
Yeah.
I think Brad's not doing too bad with this
NXT's
card.
on.
Yeah, no, Brad, your clubs are looking real good for me. So
NXT's
I'm thinking
on right now. You can book that pretty good. So you wanna throw that on?
Book the future. Well, just not the right now, okay?
Okay.
So.
No, actually, you know what we could have you do? We could have you just book. We could have you predict past pay-per-views.
You guys want you guys
past pay-per-view.
You guys want me to be champion because obviously I'm so poor at booking. I'm surprised you guys don't want that more. All I can tell you is that when, not if, when
I'm thinking if
I get my hands on championship gold, you guys better sit tight and get some effing vests, boys, because your shoulders are gonna get icy cold.
You know what I think?
For a long, long time.
What I think is going to be amazing is the closest he's going to get is going to be at Survivor Series, and the deciding match is going to be Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
Goldberg.
And then Brock Lesnar's going to win.
And then Brock loses, and you miss it by that one match.
Please.
All I know is that,
that'd be great.
I will retain till then and let you two go for it.
I'd let him make his choices. I'll be champion, so I won't be able to.
All right.
That's too bad.
Forgot.
If I'm not champion, I'm going to let you make your picks first, and I'm going to pick everyone the same, but the Brock Goldberg match, and then see it play out, and then have it come down to that match.
So despite, even if Brad's like 5 matches to our like 6, like if he's over us, like gonna win, and then you're just like, I just want to be,
No, I don't want to rob you of the title with one match. Like, have it right there, neck and neck at the top, and then, this guy. But, of course, that would mean I'd have to lose this Sunday, which isn't going to happen.
I'm totally fine with that. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, just want to wrap it up here. Join us this Sunday live at 7 p.m. Eastern for our Hell in a Cell pre-show, followed by our viewing party where we watch the pay-per-view live. Make sure you join us. It's going to be a great time. Always is. We eat Papa John's pizza. We watch the show. We eat Papa John's. It's a great time.
Yeah, love Papa John's.
So make sure that you stick with us this upcoming Sunday. Until then, guys, I think we'll wrap it up.
This was us from Macon, Georgia tonight on the couch. Macon, Georgia.
Yeah, Macon, Georgia. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at NeverOver Live. So until Sunday, guys, thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.